All right, for this morning, the way this came about is we needed a guest speaker for today, and with varying degrees of success over the years, we've had different people come in. So I reached out to our region and asked if anyone would be interested in potentially combining with us to go in on a speaker, because a good nationally known speaker is very expensive. And almost immediately Beth Kreider reached back to me and said that she would be willing to use some of her grant money to sponsor this for Peoria County. So we have a number of guests that are here, several that are online. But basically this is due to Beth and the work that she has done. I wish she was here because I was wanting to embarrass her. Beth.
That was awkward. Is that a yes? All right, so before I get started, with integrity as your guide, show of hands if anybody in this room right now knows anyone that's a tad bit too negative, cynical, salty, pessimistic, and flat out complains too darn much. Let me see a show of hands. Be honest. All right, if that person's in the room right now, point at him. We're going to get him out of here right now. It's not that kind of program. So this is the goal today. So that's the goal when I leave here today. But the last 48 hours for me personally have been really, really rough. I'm married to a second grade teacher. And as you can imagine, she's off all summer. Early in July, she says to me, "We got to talk." I say, "Okay." She goes, "You know I'm home all summer, and you're never home. We don't spend time like we used to. Kids aren't here. The work-life balance is upside down. You need to do better." Hard to hear, but I was like, so I looked at my utility belt like Batman, and all I had was a date night. Anybody know what a date night is? All right, some of you have heard of it, okay. So I had set up a date night on a Friday, but unbeknownst to me, my airline was delayed. I arrive late. As I'm driving home, my wife is blowing up my phone, texting me, "You see, this is what I'm talking about. You can't even be on time for the date night." I walk in the house, eerie quiet, not a sound. Now, if you've been married as long as I have, you can detect tension in the air like a Wi-Fi signal. Like I knew it, but as I was walking up, my wife was getting dressed. I was frustrated, I'm flustered, I'm disappointed. At that tender moment, my wife looks at me like I'm looking at you and says, "Sweetheart, how do I look?" Sir, what's your first name? Yeah, you. Yeah. Aaron. Aaron, what would you have said?
Absolutely amazing.
Aaron, let me make sure I get your cell phone. I looked at my wife for 27 years, miss, like I'm looking at you, and I said, "You look okay." Oh my God, that's how she reacted. So the last 48 hours has been rough. So hopefully we do a little bit better today. Now, I speak for a living all over the world, but I'm very intentional about how I show up in spaces. I start my day the same way every single day I'm blessed to be here. I am. Just checking on how I'm feeling emotionally. So today I wrote in my journal in the Marriott that I am grateful. What I'd like you to do, if you would, I want you to take about 30 seconds. I want you to process it, and I want you to fill it in. How are you feeling today? I am what? You got 30 seconds right now. And then what I'd like you to do, if you would, what I'd like you to do next Today won't be a lecture, folks. Today will be no lecture. I'm going to have everybody take off your shoes and socks, sit on the floor, and stare intimately. Is that too much? Okay, probably too much. But all kidding aside, what I'd like you to do, you're going to find a teammate, maybe someone sitting next to you. You're going to turn, face that human. You share, they share, we all share right now. Tell them how you're feeling. I am what? Let's go. Fifteen seconds. All right, that's a wrap. That's a wrap. Lots of chatter. So, I need a volunteer. I need a volunteer to stand up, put it out in the system. I am what? How are we feeling? Who's good? I'm exhausted already, she says. All right, who do you want to hear from? I want to hear from? Yeah. I always like hearing from Devin. I'm feeling revengeful. I wasn't expecting that, but I love that. I'll give you one more to pay it back. Who do you want to hear from? Who do you want to hear from? I am content. All right, well done, well done. Now, some of you are probably wondering why I start my day like this every single day. If I say to all of you, are you at your best when you feel better? Do you perform better when you feel better? So everything we can measure based on science improves when people in a better headspace. So I'm checking in on myself. You see, we'll talk about it. You cannot give what you do not have. And right now, the world's pretty heavy. Now, this is really, really meaningful to me. See, that was me as a young man. I did have hair once, right? Now, I've written a bunch of books. I've traveled all over the world. People hear my bio, but they don't really know the story. You see, I could barely read and write until I was in the 5th grade. I spent more time in the principal's office than I spent in the classroom. I was a bully. I had behavior issues, in and out of special ed. I was just a wreck. First generation, I just was a mess. But the one thing that I could control amongst all that was my belief system, was my mindset. And so as I would stay after school and they would work with me over and over and over to catch up, finally I was diagnosed that I'm dyslexic, a learning disability. And that was the first time that I felt like I wasn't dumb. But as I was going through that process, a woman literally every single day after school, she would eyeball me like this, and I would repeat it, I am. And so I've been doing that all these years, because if you don't believe in yourself, nothing's possible. You see, I didn't have role models growing up. I had people I didn't want to be like in situations that I didn't want to be in. But I realized that not everyone's dealt a great hand. That doesn't mean you can't reshuffle the deck for a better outcome. So we're going to talk about that today and put it in context, because my goal for this session is not only to help you, but for you to help other people too. So, that said, it's going to be very interactive. And what we're going to turn dear to my heart is kindness. Show of hands if you think we could use a little bit more kindness in the world right now. Yeah. Right? Because of all the stuff going on, I think kindness. So we're going to make this very, very interactive today. Conversations are happening. I'm going to ask you to jump in. So I want everybody to take a really big, deep breath right now. Get some oxygen in your lungs. Because I'm going to push you today a little bit. I'm going to push you a little bit to come out a little better than when you walked in. It kind of reminds me of what my dad said. Now, my dad grew up on a farm in Mullins, South Carolina. He had a little bit of an accent, was not formally educated, but he had some of this deep wisdom you can only find on a farm. And as I'd come home from school sometimes, I could just hear my dad say, "Boy, if you ain't living on the edge, you taking up too much space." Do you know what the edge is? Your comfort zone. You see, the view up here is dramatically different than the one back here. And what I found doing this work around the globe, some of the highest performing people on the planet that I work with are comfortable being uncomfortable. So I'm going to put you in some situations today where you're going to have to grow a little bit. So that's the goal. And what I find is that every human being in a school district wants minimum of 3 things. Minimum. They want to be seen, heard, and valued. Seen, heard, and valued. So those are the sandboxes we're going to play in today. But again, there will not be a lecture. So, here we go. I want everybody to look to your left or to your right. Those are your teammates. Make sure you can work with them right now. Let's go. All right, everybody got a team? Now, just like Survivor, if someone didn't pack their A game, you can vote them off the island, okay? Just, Prince, this, give them really, okay? All right, now, we're going to have a little fun. So in lieu of that, we're going to have a series of missions today. A series of missions. Now you can channel your James Bond if you're my generation, or your Jason Bourne if you're a youngster. But somehow we're going to get in these missions, and we're going to call this Mission Possible, should you choose to accept it. So, that said, here we go. Are you ready to go to the next level today? Wow. Hold on. Y'all, you were warming up, right? All right, let's get loose. All right. Are you ready to go to the next level? All right. I need a volunteer to come up on stage with me right now. I need someone with a little bit of sizzle, some flair, some dramatic. Is that you coming up? Here she is. Yes. All right. Your name?
Heather.
Heather. Does everyone know Heather? You do now. Heather, where are you from?
Originally?
Oh, at school.
Oh, I work at the high school.
You work here.
Yeah.
What do you do?
I'm a paraprofessional.
Paraprofessional. You're the real deal.
I hope so.
All right, can we hear it? Heather, 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 Heather. Oh, you get that all the time, though, don't you?
Yeah.
I know you do.
Yeah.
All right, so to get these missions started, your mission is to get this entire room, I mean every single human being involved in this activity.
All right.
You don't know what it is yet.
I don't.
Now, that said, do you have Heather's back? Yes. You got more, they have more. Do you have Heather's back? Yes. All right, Heather, are you ready?
Okay.
Now, I'm going to flip the slide. That's going to be your cue. and then you're going to use that to get this entire room involved. And I want to see your absolute A game.
Okay.
You ready?
All right.
You sure?
A positive.
Okay. We're counting on you, Heather.
All right.
All right. I'm going to get out of the way. This is your show. Ready?
I'm in charge now. Okay.
You're in show. Here we go.
Oh, God. All right. What are we going to do? Stand up, sing, sit down, sing? All right. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, it's true to show it. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands.
All right, Heather, I've got a gift. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's hear it again. Heather, Heather, Heather. Awesome. Now, Heather is really humble, but she does holiday celebrations. She does birthday parties, right, Heather? She's available. TikTok, she's a big deal. Okay, so that said, for some reason this year, people keep coming up to me randomly and asking me, they kind of like, how old are you? I'm like, is it because I'm immature or because I don't know, the stories we tell ourselves, right? So in lieu of you probably wondering how old I am, I want to see if you can figure out how old I am. Would that be okay? Just a couple breadcrumbs. Now, for some of you youngsters, this might be a little tough, or maybe some of you, I don't know. Here we go. This is how old I am. That was my first iPad. Anybody remember those? Okay, some of you have no idea what that is, right? All right, right? All right, this was what I used to listen to music on. Anybody remember that? Sony Walk. Anybody still have one? Wow. I didn't even know they still, right? Okay, all right, we're not done. That's how I used to listen to music. That was my, anybody remember those? Yeah? Does anybody remember the struggle when you messed up the number and you had to start over? You were like, life's not fair. Like, why does the world hate me, right? My favorite TV show. Does anybody remember that? Yeah, yeah. The plane, right? All right, we're not done. We're not done. How about this? Anybody remember going to the video store with your mom and dad? Do you remember on a Friday night you would go and the movie wasn't there? It was like your whole Friday night was ruined. Right? Now, that said, that was a good meal in my house. Anybody still eat these? Don't invite me for dinner then, okay? Thanks. All right, now, that said, this is what I did with my friends. Anybody here roller skate? That's my era. So, either way. But have you noticed all the changes in the world right now? Anybody else notice all the changes going on in the world right now? Can we all agree that in 2019, not a single person in this room right now got the answer correct to this question? Would you agree? Who would have thought we would be right here, right now, in the world right now? It's heavy. So as I was getting ready, and again, I don't want to be tone deaf to what's going on in the world, especially when you're exhausted, right? Crisis was the operative word as I was thinking about today around the world. Disease, war, calamity, just stuff, whether it's college campus or Gaza, just a lot of heaviness right now. Burnout at all-time highs right now across the workforces right now. People feel excluded, don't feel a part of a group. Stress is at epic highs right now at work. The John Templeton Foundation surveyed 2,000 Americans and Americans rank their jobs dead last in terms of things they're grateful for. Dead last. Is that a problem? We spend more time at work than we do with our families. This is what it looks like around school districts right now across North America. Yes, you know the faces. Exhausted. Where are you, exhausted? All right? The United States than we've ever had. But it's not just here, globally. Did you know that the UK now has a minister of loneliness in government? We've got more lonely adults or human beings right now on earth than we've ever had. Clearly they have a minister of loneliness. Now I'm going to put this in context because when I was there recently, I noticed these. These are called chat benches. They're benches in parks encouraging humans to put their phones down and talk to each other. Is that where we are? We don't talk anymore. We text, Snapchat, we email. And so I was looking at the data, and I'm not going to read it, but having friends over to the house, family dinners, volunteering, and church attendance is all down across the U.S. What do all these provide for human beings? A place for us to gather. You don't even have to leave your house anymore. Instacart can deliver your groceries. Amazon, you don't need to go to the mall. We have lost that, and this is good context for you. You see, we're so lonely, I just found this, that you can hire people to come cuddle you. Now, I know some of you are like, that's really icky, right? I know you were thinking that. Some are like icky, and some of you right now are looking it up via Google. Now, I don't know which one you're sitting next to, but see what they're doing with their phone right now. Now, as odd as this might be, this clearly suggests that we're so starved for connection that I would hire a stranger to come to my house to hold me? Now, this young lady, Lisa, $450 a shot to come hold you. All right? Now, some of you are like, wow, that's a nice side hustle. Now, that said, where Samantha says, why isn't there a Starbucks for hugs? Folks, this is who we are right now. This is who we are, and this is good to know. But, that said, I want to check in on you right now with the person sitting next to you. How are you really doing right now in the new normal? Are you A, B, C, or D? A, B, C, or D? I'd like you to process that and share it with the human being next to you. You got 45 seconds. Let's go. Fifteen seconds. All right, time's up. Time's up. A lot of chatter. So, show of hands. Show of hands if you're an A. Wow, got a couple A's. How about a B? A lot of B's. Any C's? Couple C's. So it looks like overwhelmingly B. I'm doing okay as long as I keep moving. Folks, right now, I would tell you, just because you carry it well doesn't mean it's not heavy. Right now, being an educator in the new normal is really, really heavy. But the one thing we can do is how we take care of ourselves and how we take care of each other. So we're going to put that in context. This is the new normal. I took this photo. What does Grandpa want to do? Talk! And what is she doing? There's the digital divide right there. He doesn't see her that often, and he just wants to talk. No harm in it, she just doesn't want to connect. This is who we used to be. This is who we are. This is who we used to be. I'm not anti-technology, folks. I'm not. But social connection is a really, really big deal. And see, I'm reminded of this woman, Margaret Mead, famous cultural anthropologist. She was teaching a class one day, and someone asked Professor Mead, what was the first instance of civilized society? Now, you might have thought she'd have said an artifact or fire or a tool or something like that. Margaret Mead responded to the young man, it was none of the above. It was a fully formed human femur, which seemed a little bit odd. If you don't know the anatomy, the human femur is the longest bone in the human body. It extends from the hip to the knee. If you would have broken your femur in pre-civilized society, it was a death sentence. You couldn't walk, you would have been eaten, or you would have starved to death. The first instance of a fully formed human femur suggested that that person had been loved, nurtured, had been taken care of. This is kind of sort of why we're still here. We used to take care of one another. And I would argue in some cases we've lost that feeling. So we're going to have a little practice today and dive in. I spent a lot of time in research. I found this UK study. They were trying to determine, could you hijack someone's brain and get them to turn the frown the other way around? Could you get someone to go from a bad mood to a good mood? Is that a big deal? All right? I think so. So there was one thing that was the equivalent of 2,000 chocolate bars on the brain. One thing that was the equivalent of 2,000 chocolate bars on the brain. Does anybody know what that magic stimulus was? It was a smile. A smile is that big of a deal. And it is. I'm in Indiana University Health. I'm not sure if you can see this. This is hanging as you walk in the hospital. Please take responsibility for the energy you bring into this space. Your words matter. Your behavior matters. How you show up matters. We know that emotions are as contagious as a common cold. So if that's the case, we've got our first mission. I think we're ready. I need everybody to turn and face a human just like that. Wait for my instructions. If you can't turn your body a little bit, face somebody. I didn't say fall in love. Just turn. All right? Everybody got a partner? Now, this is our first mission. Our first mission. Now, with your partner, Mother Teresa said, and I quote, that peace begins with a smile. I want you to look at that human being right now and give him the biggest smile you give someone all day. Give him a smile, let's go. All right, well done. All right, well done, well done. Was that okay? All right, now, why is that so important, folks? I think it's critically important because what fills your cup is what spills out. You cannot give what you do not have. And when students walk in here the first day of school and parents or whomever, they're going to look right at you. And is this another school year or is this a school year? And so again, how you show up in spaces. I didn't realize how important that was until recently. I did a talk similar to this, and as I was walking off the stage, like I'm doing here, this young man was at the bottom of the stairs, and he was following me, and I could tell that he was visibly nervous about speaking in front of it was a couple thousand people. Now, I can't give this young man a whole lot. He's given so much to this country, but I said, you know what, I'm going to give him 60 minutes of my time. I stayed and I was his hype man. I'm pumping him up. He's Eminem and I'm hyping him up, telling him he's going to kill him, getting him all excited because he doesn't speak professionally. He gets up, does a great talk, talks about things like service, country, hope, faith, love. At the end of the program, a woman in the last row grabs the mic and says in front of 2,000 people, Private Johnny, I have to ask, and I'm sure everybody else in this room's wondering it, how do you stay so darn positive and you got no freaking legs? Whoa! He does not miss a beat. He says, ma'am, no disrespect, but how do you and everybody else in this darn room stay so negative and you got both of yours? Think about that. That young man realizes he doesn't have any legs, but he also realizes he has 2 young children at home. He also realizes he's got a wife of 3 years, and he's got some people that he served with did not come back. One of our greatest addictions in the new normal is talking about all our problems and ignoring our blessings. I'm not saying that life's not heavy, but if good things are happening in your world, you need to talk about those too. Because if you don't, for the brain, it's like they don't exist. So, gratitude is an absolute superpower. You see, have you noticed that it takes a funeral for the flowers, the food, and the family to show up? Anybody know what I'm talking about? We take more flowers to the funeral parlor than we do the backyard. Why is that? Why do we travel for hours and miles to say how amazing someone is, but when they were here the day before or the week before, we don't tell them? You see, I would argue that everything that we say at funerals, we should be saying at birthday parties, letting people know how amazing they are. So, that aside, we're going to have a little practice. I want you to think about someone amazing in your life right now that maybe you don't tell them enough. And I want you, if you have a phone, I want you to secure it right now and send that human a text or email right now and let them know how amazing they are right now. We're going to change the world today. Who in your world is absolutely amazing and you're grateful for them, but maybe you don't tell them enough? You can't send it to yourself either. Just a text, hey, I was thinking about you, I love you, I appreciate you. Now, some of you are going to get a response back like this. Is everything okay? Did something happen at school? Why are you telling me that, Mom? If you get that response, it should be a wake-up call. We tend not to get that self-reflected and share gratitude unless something's wrong. I'm asking you to let people proactively know how amazing they are. Because if you're not doing it, who is? I don't need the whole world in my corner, but if I got one person in my corner, things are a little bit brighter. I wake up every single day. I'm blessed to wake up. I think about a human being in my life that matters, and I let them know. That's it. One person a day. Could be a coworker, colleague, fraternity brother, someone I serve, anybody. So, that said, this is my daily self-love checklist. This is what I do to keep my cup full. Do you have one? Should you? If the best version of you is when you're in a better place emotionally, how can you not have one? You want to be a better mom? Better spouse? Better professional? I would argue when your cup's full. Right? So this is what I do. I start my day with gratitude every day. Now, that said, I'm going to offer a 21-day gratitude challenge for everyone in this group today. That you're going to commit, starting today, to write down at least one thing you're grateful for every single day to start the school year. Do you think you could find 21 things to be grateful for if you look hard enough? Right? So, that said, we're going to start right now. Here's day one. One thing you feel good about your life, one thing you're enthusiastic about this school year, and one person I'm most thankful for right now in my life. With your partner, you're on the clock, you got 90 seconds, let's go. Seconds. Fifteen seconds. All right, that's a wrap. So, that's day one. Do you think you could do that for 20 more days? Is that a yes? All right. Again, you cannot give what you do not have. You cannot pour from an empty cup. The best version of you. Now, the science is really clear. When we have an attitude of gratitude or we share gratitude with others, it fires off dopamine in the brain. It makes us feel better and makes other people too. So, that said, I'm going to help you because I know it's busy at the start of the year. Is everybody getting along with your partner so far? Any issues? Some of you are like, already, I know. All right, now, just like Batman had Robin, Starsky had Hutch, Thelma had Louise, you got my drift. The person that you've been working with all today so far, they're going to be your accountability partner. And their sole mission is to check in on you and make sure you finish the mission. Now, so you don't forget who they are, I want one of you to pull out a smartphone and take a selfie with your partner right now. Let's go. Let's go. Just so you don't forget who your partner is. A big old smile. Just like that. Well done, well done. Now,